Let's go to proteins for a minute. Proteins are made up of basic amino acids. There are certain ones in our diet that are considered complete proteins. They contain all of the essential amino acids, and there are 9 of these. And these are the ones that your body can't make, that you have to get from outside sources that typically include meat, fish, and dairy products, including poultry products. There are 11 other amino acids that we all need, but we can synthesize these from other foods. In other words, your body can make those. So it is important to make sure that you get some of these complete proteins. Vegetarians in particular need to be careful of their food selection. A vegan or a vegan, depending on how you choose to pronounce it, who eat no dairy or eggs, would have a more difficult time getting some of the complete proteins, where a lacto-ovo vegetarian who eats dietary and eggs would have less of a problem. Most experts agree that vegans or vegans would probably need to consider a vitamin B12 supplement, because it's difficult to get enough of this if you don't eat meat, poultry, eggs, fish. So the basic protein requirements for recommended for this macronutrient is 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. So for a 100-pound person, this would be 80 grams, or about 320 calories. For a 200-pound person, it'd be about 160 grams, or about 640 calories. So it does depend on your body side. Most people recommend, and experts recommend, that you not exceed 2 times the RDA for protein. In terms of other information, what about athletes? They need more grams, but they probably don't need a greater percentage of their total calories, and that's because they eat more calories. They consume more calories. Therefore, if you're eating a good healthy diet, taking extra protein is not necessary for athletic performance. Children, however, do need a greater proportion of their total calories, up to 40%. As protein. Pregnant women need more, and they need to consult with a physician as to what their diet should be. Some suggestions. Protein does stick with you, and so eating some protein at every meal is an idea that is a good one. For example, people who only eat a bagel and a cup of coffee in the morning are likely to get hungry and maybe consume more at lunch, whereas if they would take some protein at breakfast, they would be less likely to get hungry. There is some evidence that high protein diets can be effective for obese and very overweight people. However, most experts agree that for the average person, a high protein diet is not recommended and can cause problems. You can see from my previous recommendations how much protein you should take in your diet. High protein diets are not a cure-all and can result in calcium loss and kidney malfunction. Fats. What about fats? Well, there are different kinds of fat. There's animal fat, which is saturated, although there are some vegetable fats that are saturated. Most vegetable fats are unsaturated, consisting of polyunsaturated and monounsaturated. You would prefer to have the unsaturated fats in your diet because they're less likely to cause fat buildup in the blood, and animal fats are high in cholesterol, although your body does produce cholesterol. It's interesting, if you take a look at the oils that we consume, here's a vegetable oil, palm oil, that is very high in saturated fat, although we often don't think that vegetable oils have saturated fat. They do. On the other hand, olive oil and canola oil are very high in mono and polyunsaturated fats, and these are the kind that we recommend. So the type of vegetable oil you choose is important. In terms of dietary fat, no more than 30% from the USDA, and less than a third of all of your fats, or 10% of your total fat, should be from saturated sources. The Institute of Medicine says as little fat as possible, although again, you do need some fat for good health. And they would encourage you to have some of the omega-3 and 6, such as fish oils, and avoid trans fatty acids, and these are the kinds of fats that are included in margarine and things.